So let's talk about the SumIf function. All right, this function allows us to calculate a sum under certain conditions. All right, so the way it works is you've got 2 or 3 things that you give this function. All right, the first one is the range. So this is the range to check if something is true or not. Then the criteria is the value you compare it to. And then the sum range is optional, and it allows you to specify a different range to sum. Okay, if you don't give it that, it assumes it's just the range. Okay, so let's look at these 2 examples. So the first one, SumIf b1 to b100, quote, greater than 2, end quote. So what this says is get the total sum of the numbers in b1 to b100 that have a value greater than 2. Okay? Here in this one, we don't use the sum range argument. So that's why we're summing b1 to b100. Now let's look at the second one. SumIf a1 to a20, comma d1, comma b1 to b20. So this says get the total sum of the numbers in the sum range, which is b1 to b20, that have a corresponding value in a1 to a20 equal to the value of d1. So what it's going to do is it's going to go through a1 to a20, and it's going to say, does a1 equal d1? If yes, then add b1. If no, then don't. Then a2. Is a2 equal to d1? If yes, add b2. If no, don't. And it's going to do that for all 20 of those cells, A1 to 20. All right, so let's go look at an example of where this could be useful. So here I have part of the order table that we've kind of looked at through some of our examples. And I've got the order ID, the product ID, and the quantity. And as you can see, it goes on for a while. All right, I've gotten here, let's see, almost 350 entries. Okay, so now a great question that your manager might ask you is, well, how many of a certain product did we sell, right? How many of this product did we sell total? And so our first thought would be, well, let's, I don't know, we could sort it by product ID, and then I guess kind of click through and sum like that, but that's really dangerous because what if stuff changes, right? So this is where the SumIf function is going to prove really helpful. So we type equals SumIf, and what we want is we want to see, does column B equal to our product ID, and if it does, we want to sum up column C. Okay? So I'm going to click on B, and notice I didn't click on the cells. I just picked the whole column. That way, if we add anything, if we add another order, it's still working right. Okay? And the question is now, the second argument is our criteria, right? So we want to get it if it equals the value in this cell, if it equals our product ID. And I'm going to leave that as a relative reference so that we can populate this whole table. All right? Then, what column do I want to sum? What's my sum range? And that's here going to be column C. Okay? I want to sum up the quantity if the product ID equals what's over here. So, there we go. We sold 44 of this product. Awesome. And now, we can drag that down to all of them. And we see, okay, we now know if your manager asks you about product 444741, you can tell them that you sold 24. Okay? How do we know this is right? Always a really good question to ask yourself. Right? Let's just do a sanity check. And let's see, does the sum of the total quantity that we have That's 1209. Does that equal the sum of the total that we have in this column? It does. They're both 1209. So that's really, really good. That means this is working the way we expected. If these two values were different for some reason, there'd be a couple options, right? A couple reasons to look through. One, did you write your SumIf formulas correctly? Two, are there products that you've sold that you didn't include in this table, right? If we hadn't included this one, then we'd have fewer than the total in the product table because we're missing one of our product IDs. Okay? Those are probably your two best places to look if these two numbers don't match. It's always a good sanity check to make sure that your formulas are working. And once they're working, you've successfully mastered the SumIf function. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.